This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. Here now the news for February 23rd, 2026. But before we get to the news, you're probably asking, Tom, why is there an entire lamp on your desk? Well, this isn't any lamp. This is a lamp that was in the guest rooms at Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort, and it is one of many Disney Resort hotel room and theme park props that will be part of a special auction this coming Sunday, which includes 250 of my personal belongings. You can't see this at home, but just beyond the camera in what has been our studio since we moved here in 2021 are aisles and aisles and aisles of bins and boxes of my belongings that have been taken out of our previous storage facility, which will be our new studio in just a few days' time, and that's where they are. And so there's too much. I have accrued and collected far too many Disney and Universal theme park collectibles in my life, and the time has come to eliminate some of it. The good news is you can take it home with you. So this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern on this channel, we will auction live 250 of my items, including, again, theme park props, hotel furniture, and so much more. So join us this Sunday at 5 o'clock. If you want to check out the auction catalog, we're still adding a couple items. You can check it out at auction.wdwnt.com. Check out all 250 items of mine that simply must go. But yeah, now let's get to the news. Every day, Cinderella Castle is turning a little bit more gray as the Magic Kingdom icon has its classic color scheme restored. Recently, the pink and gold areas around the clock on the front of the castle were painted. Some of the gold trim behind the clock tower has been painted gray, and crew members have started painting the nearby pink walls. The pink wall at the back of the balcony below the clock has yet to be painted, though. On the back of the castle, there's now far more gray than pink. Crews have been painting around the windows of Cinderella's royal table, and there's even less pink to be seen than in our last update. The remaining pink and gold is above each window, but the walls and trim around the glass are completely gray as of now. So they're moving quick. Big Top Souvenirs, the large circus tent gift shop in Storybook Circus in Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom, is now closed for a previously unannounced refurbishment. According to the Walt Disney World website, Big Top Souvenirs is expected to reopen to guests later this year. This indicates a relatively long refurbishment timeline for a gift shop. I mean, later this year could be next month. It could be any time, but later this year does not sound promising. It sounds like it's going to be a couple months. Last fall, Disney filed construction permits for both Big Top Souvenirs and Pete's Silly Sideshow. Pete's Silly Sideshow did close back in January and had its meet and greets moved outside while they replaced the tent. The tent roof has been completely removed. A reopening date for Pete's Silly Sideshow is also not available, so they don't know when either of these projects are going to be done, but both venues are closed for the time being. Crews are actively testing the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad Geysers and the coaster trains ahead of its scheduled spring reopening. The Magic Kingdom attraction has been closed since January of 2025 for this major refurbishment. Our reporters could see the trains were being tested intermittently throughout the day. Scaffolding remains up around the entrance as it appears work is continuing throughout the day to ensure a spring opening, although Disney has not announced an exact date just yet. The ride has been testing on and off for a few months now. The trains and the entire track have been replaced, and beyond the rocks and faces of the ride's entrance, we saw two geysers occasionally spraying water skyward. Guests passed these geysers near the end of the ride in a hot spring scene. Our reporters also noticed one of the railings now had construction walls around it. It's unclear if the refurbishment will expand beyond its construction walls, considering the attraction is supposed to reopen sometime in the coming months. Again, we don't know exactly what spring may mean. It's open for interpretation, but several weeks or months are still left in this refurbishment by the looks of it. Disney announced a new Animation Academy experience for Disney's Hollywood studios with Olaf Draws, where everyone's favorite snowman will take center stage as your host. Olaf will invite guests of all ages to explore the art of character drawing, and brought to life as an all-new Audio-Animatronics figure, Olaf welcomes you into a space inspired by one of his most memorable moments from Once Upon a Studio, where he's sitting at an animator's desk. Stepping into a reimagined animator studio with playful nods to Frozen, guests of all ages are invited to sit down and learn to draw. Young animators in the making can spark their creativity at sleigh-themed tables, while animator desk-style workstations invite kids at heart to feel as though they've stepped right into the studio. Josh Gad, the voice of Olaf, recorded original dialogue for the attraction, And since Olaf can't quite draw on his own, he turns to the expertise of some legendary Disney animation artists whose pre-recorded guidance brings the class to life. Together, they guide you step by step through the creative process, sharing tips, techniques, and stories straight from the studio as you learn how beloved Disney animated characters come to life. Each class will feature a different character, including Mickey Mouse with Dan Abraham, director of Once Upon a Studio and Baymax, Minnie Mouse with Hyun Min Lee, the animator on Frozen 2 and The Princess and the Frog. Donald Duck will be with Austin Traylor, animator on Once Upon a Studio and Moana 2. Genie is with Eric Goldberg, animator on Aladdin and Hercules, a legend. Moana with Samantha Vilfort, story artist on Encanto and Zootopia 2. Stitch will be with Fawn Varasenthorn, the director and head of story on Wish and Raya and the Last Dragon. Olaf will be with Trent Corey, director of Once Upon a Studio and Frozen 3. And Ursula with Michael Woodside, an animator on Big Hero 6 and Encanto. Meanwhile, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde will be with Byron Howard, the director of both Zootopia films. Of course, the all-new magic of Disney animation will open sometime later this summer. Some of the advertised offerings are pieces of art on the wall that will come to life. There's a playground inspired by Mary Blair's Alice in Wonderland, concept art, and so much more. We got to stop and unpack this for a second. So number one, obviously this is being announced because the animation experience at Rafiki's Planet Watch closed yesterday. So now we are once again without an animation experience at Walt Disney World. Of course, the original experience was presented at Disney's Hollywood Studios in The Magic of Disney Animation. Then that closed. A couple years later, they decided maybe we should have this at Animal Kingdom at Planet Watch, and people can draw characters inspired by real-world animals. And so the animation experience, as it was then named, premiered there. And then now we're getting Animation Academy back as Olaf draws. It's a version of it. So first of all, first impression, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed that we're getting an attraction with an audio-animatronic. Because all of this, I don't know why they wouldn't lead with that, but I think what I'm going to talk about next is probably why Disney didn't lead with that. They're putting a lot of money into this new Magic of Disney Animation, and then that brings a lot of joy to me. That makes me smile. It's nice to see love and care going into this, that this is not going to be just some thing they cobbled together to just exist for, which is what comes to mind when you think of the Magic of Disney Animation. The last version of it, when they removed real animators from the experience, it was kind of cobbled together. It just was like, well, what do we do? Meet and greets and this, and it felt hodgepodge. It felt thrown together at the last minute. It's nice to hear that we're going to get something more coherent and cohesive, and that actually has what seems like a very nice budget behind it, and a lot of thought. So I'm excited that we're getting an audio-animatronic show at Hollywood Studios in a space that did not have one. This park is adding an animatronic, which doesn't happen a lot in modern day. Which again, I think speaks to the quality difference in regime. I think this Josh D'Amaro regime has been very good to us. Now, the part of this that's controversial is between Olaf sitting on the stage and these pre-recorded bits with these Disney animators and directors and such. There is no human animator. There's no human animator on the stage. There's no human animator to help guide you along in this experience as a guest in the crowd. That's the bad part. So I totally understand people being upset about that. I get that. That's not great. On one side, I have to tell you honestly, I'm very torn. That's heartbreaking that you won't have that human interaction. And I think for someone that's actually an aspiring artist, you want that. You want someone to, and you were certainly able to, at the end of a class, take a moment, go up to an animator, and they give you a quick critique or a pointer or two, et cetera. You didn't have a lot of time with them, but they always were very clearly willing to help. Whether you're young or young at heart, help you improve on your artistry. That's really important, and I'm sure that makes a big impression on people. I know I have spoken to people in my career who work at Walt Disney Feature Animation or even Pixar, who their first experience in animation with a real Disney animator was at Hollywood Studios at MGM, and they had a couple seconds, whether it was on the tour, they happened to be able to talk to somebody, or it was at Animation Academy, and they got to talk for a few seconds with someone at the end of that. Whatever the case may be, that's a very important human interaction that can change the rest of a human being's life. This is really important. At the same time, I'm really excited about the monetary investment that they're going to build an audio-animatronic for this, that there's all new desks and displays, and like they're really pouring some money in here. So I like this aspect, but it comes at the expense of the human interaction, and that's the problem. So I'm very torn here. I would ask you what your comments are, but I assume everyone's going to be upset there's no human animator, and rightfully so. But I'm very torn. I'm super excited that this is happening. At the same time, I'm very sad that there won't be a human. I hope, here's the course correction. Here's what I would like to happen. The show remains as it is. I would love for Disney to staff a person or two who is an actual trained animator to either be in the room and helping people as the show is going on, or someone that guests can talk to when the experience is over. Like Olaf can direct people. Hey, we have a Disney animator on hand that would be happy to help critique your work or give you some pointers. So, after you exit, be sure to stop and say hello to them. That would be the course of action. And I think there's several months here before this opens. This is something that could be done. So hopefully Disney, I'm not going to say hopefully, Disney's reading feedback. We know that. I hope Disney not only reads the feedback, but takes it under consideration. And I'm not asking them to completely rework what they've got figured out that they want to present, but I'm asking them to augment it with something that will still give people that human interaction. So hopefully that marriage of the two shows can happen. But until then, we will anxiously await the new Olaf draws. Walt Disney Presents at Disney's Hollywood Studios has multiple Hoppers displays and a preview in the theater. The marquee now features a poster for the film along with the promise of a sneak peek. The other half is still advertising the meet and greet for Ariel, which returned after a short absence in favor of the Christmas meet and greets. The first display inside focuses on King George, voiced by Bobby Moynihan of SNL fame and DuckTales fame, for that matter. The model of the character has two plaques, one describing the character and another about the concept stage of filmmaking. The background features multiple concept images, and the second display then has a model of Mabel, the main character of the film, in her beaver form. One plaque describes her briefly, while another below has a synopsis of the film. More concept art is featured in the background. The theater, which usually shows One Man's Dream, I say usually, but most of the time it's not there, right now instead has the Hoppers preview. It was a Percy Jackson preview for a while. The doors have decals with some of the characters from the film on it, but a preview of Hoppers now available at Hollywood Studios. The refurbishment of the entrance of Toy Story Mania at Hollywood Studios appears to finally be complete, with the decal added to the circus tent. The refurbishment began late last year and slowly spread its way across the entire marquee. Rolling planters covered the front of the entryway columns for a while. The entire marquee was refurbished as the Florida sun had weathered it over the years. Of course, earlier in the week, the Slinky Dog Dash queue was also cleaned up after dirt had built up, and we had reported on that. And I will tell you this, Toy Story Land's starting to look a little better, but man, we heard you guys loud and clear. Last week we asked if you wanted honest reviews of things that have already opened, not things that are just new. And you guys told us there's no uncertainty that you want these reviews to happen. And I cannot wait to do Toy Story Land, because you guys know I'm not a big fan of Toy Story Land. So more thoughts on Toy Story Land in the coming weeks. So we have many of these coming up. I think we're going to try to do one a week for the next couple months. So stay tuned. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to wwnt.travel, and their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resorts to Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free. My boxes said it, I think. So contact them today. Rafiki's Planet Watch is now closed for refurbishment as the area prepares to welcome the Bluey experience this summer. We noticed that the sign at Animal Kingdom was already covered up this morning with a tan scrim, and the entrance has been roped off because it's closed now. Along with Planet Watch, the Wildlife Express train and the Affection section are also closed. There's still no exact update on when this will reopen with the new Bluey experience. The rumor we've heard is 3 months, so we expect by Memorial Day weekend that this will be open, but that is not official just yet. The experience will include dances and games with Bluey and Bingo, a meet and greet, and animals from the healer's home country of Australia. The construction of the Encanto ride building, part of the Tropical Americas land at Animal Kingdom, has reached a milestone. Workers have placed an American flag at the top, which means that they have topped it off. That's the highest point of construction now complete. Despite the milestone, the structure is still many, many months away from reaching completion, though. I want to keep that in mind. The Tropical Americas is slated to open sometime in 2027. My guess is very late in that year. Guests can still find DinoLand USA merchandise at Animal Kingdom, even though the land is now closed. You can find that DinoLand merchandise in Island Mercantile. This is mostly generic unbranded dinosaur merch, but there are a couple of items branded to the dinosaur ride that are still hanging around, including the dinosaur figures and the remote control Time Rover. Most likely Disney is getting rid of the last dinosaur stock, and once it's gone for good, so you might want to hurry up and grab it. Real quick, I want to mention Carousel of Products at carouselofproducts.com. We do have a great new item for you. It is this wonderful pin set. Hopefully we can cut to a close-up or artwork of this pin set so you can see it. In honor of the imminent closure of Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, we've made a very special pin set. It's 5 pins. They are the license plates that at one point or another were on each of the Super Stretch limos in the attraction. There is no good photography or record of these out there, but by working with the Imagineers who actually built the ride, we've been able to restore artwork of each and every one of their license plates, and now you can take home a version of them to remember this attraction forever. So grab this now at carouselofproducts.com. There is a completer pin that goes with this, but it is part of the event gift if you are attending our event this weekend at the Embassy Suites. So if you want more details on the event, if you want to join us in person or live stream it, you can find out more at events.wdwnt.com. But for the pin set, carouselofproducts.com. Guests staying at a Disney Deluxe Resort in May will have the opportunity to enjoy extended evening hours at Animal Kingdom. Extended evening hours are more frequently offered at the other Walt Disney World theme parks. However, Animal Kingdom is known to host them from time to time. On May 4th, 2026, Deluxe Resort guests can stay at Animal Kingdom a while longer from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. As of February 23rd, the Walt Disney World website is only updated through May 4th, so we don't know. We would assume there'll be more than one coming up at Animal Kingdom. We assume more so. And I will tell you this, with the current lineup at Animal Kingdom, this is a really great option for guests staying at a deluxe resort, because I will tell you, the park is down a lot of capacity right now, and so the lines and everything are going to be longer. During extended evening hours at Animal Kingdom, the following attractions will be open. It'll be Flight of Passage, Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, Navi River Journey, and Zootopia Better Together. So what I would do is get there just a little bit before 6 o'clock, enough time to do everything else you want to do in the park. I assume Kilimanjaro Safari is important to many people out there. Get there early enough to do the things that are not on this list, and then once extended evening hours start, you can take advantage of those couple attractions. But man, that is a real short list. But honestly, that's most of Animal Kingdom right now. So other than the shows and the safari and Kali River Rapids and some animal walkthroughs, that's everything at the moment. But yeah, keep that in mind. We'll let you know when more are announced. Black Tap Craft Burgers and Shakes is going to be opening up a pop-up at Disney Springs. The announcement teased Instagrammable shakes, including the special edition Mickey Mouse Shake, rimmed with vanilla frosting, Mickey sprinkles, and topped with a homemade Mickey-shaped crispy treat, rock candy, whipped cream, and a cherry. The venue will open in March at the former Sprinkles location at Disney Springs in the town center, which closed its doors back on January 1st. Though an end date for the pop-up has not been announced, it's expected to remain open until May at least. Of course, Black Tap already operates a full-blown location at Downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort. The Aerophile balloon is nowhere to be seen at Disney Springs. Instead, crew members are actively working on something around the base of where the helium balloon usually sits on the water of Lake Buena Vista. It's unclear what exactly they are doing or how long Aerophile will be out of commission. There has been no announcement from Disney or from Aerophile. However, an electronic sign outside states that it is closed for maintenance and rolling planters have been moved into the area. Boatwright's dining hall at Port Orleans Resort Riverside is getting a new menu. The new menu items will include bourbon chocolate cake, bacon and cheddar loaded mashed potatoes, panko crispy chicken, peanut butter pie, pimento cheese fritters, spiced smoked Gouda potatoes. The Taste of the Bayou All You Care to Enjoy platter is going to be updated. There's char-grilled butcher steak chimichurri grilled shrimp, citrus shrimp cocktail, shrimp pappardelle pasta, wedge salad, and caramelized vanilla custard among all the new items. It sounds like a pretty big menu change for Boatwrights. Construction work is being done inside the former Big River Grill and Brewing Works at Disney's BoardWalk. Big River Grill, which closed in January of 2024, has been out of operation for over 2 years, but loud construction, which sounded like interior demo, was taking place at the former restaurant. The front of the location is blocked off by refurbishment hedges, and a rental trailer was sitting out in front of the former entrance, tucked behind the hedges. As of right now, there are no announcements regarding what will replace Big River Grill and Brewing Works. One can assume if interior work is being done, an announcement will be made sometime soon. This is an interesting time for the BoardWalk because they're still in the middle of this reimagining. Of course, Jelly Rolls closed recently, and the rumor for a while was a jazz club was going in there. We've heard some rumors that maybe that's being rethought. It's unclear at this time. But now between Jelly Rolls and Big River Grill, it's clear something is going on. Maybe they're going to move the jazz club there instead. Maybe there's not going to be a jazz club. Maybe it's going to be something different, some other live music venue. We don't know yet. So we will wait and see. Say it with me, kids. Our new catchphrase. We will wait and see what happens. We have some big news coming out of the Disneyland Resort late last week. For some time now, of course, guests with a valid park hopper ticket or a Magic Key Pass had only been able to park hop between Disneyland and DCA at the Disneyland Resort beginning at 11 a.m. after they had visited that first park. However, Disneyland Resort will now lift that restriction, allowing you to park hop at any time. This information was shared with WDWNT during a special Disneyland Resort business update event on February 19th. Sadly, no further information was shared at that time, so we don't have the exact details. We don't know the date when this is going to happen, but we suspect a formal announcement very soon. Some other big news that came out of that business update: they have decided to not close Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sulley to the Rescue at Disney California Adventure just yet. Of course, it was announced some time ago that an Avatar Land and an Avatar attraction are coming to California Adventure sometime in the future. It was announced, though, that Monsters, Inc. would close early this year to make way for that. According to Thomas Maslam, the president of Disneyland Resort, and those that we spoke to at this event, it has been said that they have found a way, without delaying the Avatar attraction, to keep Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sulley to the Rescue open for a whole nother year into sometime in 2027. Whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. But either way, that's what's happening. As for the reasoning behind this, we were told Disneyland Resort is heavily focusing on a young family demographic, one that they don't feel like they have enough guests in that demographic. And so in order to grow that effectively, especially with the Bluey show on the way in just a couple weeks' time, it was in their best interest to continue to have a number of things for guests that fit that demo for them to do at DCA. And there isn't a lot for families with small kids at that park. And so it was decided to keep Monsters, Inc. for as long as they possibly can while they try to figure out how to work out that capacity. I'm sure there'll be some entertainment or other offerings coming to fill that gap when Monsters, Inc. finally does close. But for the time being, they're not closing this ride. Of course, I've seen the rumors online. I've seen people talking about the fact they think this is a way of delaying Avatar to a point at which they can cancel that project for DCA, because a lot of the fans... Stop me if you've heard this one before. Disney fans have received an announcement of an Avatar Land and attraction, and they're not happy about it. That's what happened in the 2010s, kids. How'd that turn out? I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I was with everybody else when that was announced and went, huh, really? And then it turned out to be one of the best things Imagineering has ever done. So, look, here's the story. Bob Iger, this current Avatar project was a Bob Iger thing, along with James Cameron. And Bob Iger has not stepped out the door just yet. So with Bob not out the door yet, if you delay the Monsters, Inc. ride closing, when Bob does go out the door, you know, a slew of new management across the company, or rearranged management, I should say, could change their mind and do something else, right? So are they just moving things down the line so they can reassess and reimagine these plans? I don't know. I think a lot of time and effort's been spent on the Avatar Land. I would be really shocked if it doesn't happen. I'd actually be really sad, because what we've heard thus far sounded really cool. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but but the official word is we're pushing at least a year. You'll get to experience Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sulley the Rescue more than you thought you would. And then at that time, we will see where everything goes. While at that meeting last week, Disneyland Resort boasted that its focus is on attraction reliability and has been proven to be effective. There were reportedly 1.5 million more rides by guests this past year. To increase guest satisfaction, Disneyland Resort is focusing on attraction reliability, focusing effort on an increased uptime at attractions. According to Natalie Katska, Director of Attractions Engineering Services at the resort, again, 1.5 million more rides were held across the resort during fiscal year 2025. They're also working on capacity by improving functionality at load and unload platforms. With behind-the-scenes changes, Space Mountain is handling more guests per hour, and Indiana Jones Adventure is next on the list for such updates. Part of this initiative is the running of 4 trains simultaneously at the Disneyland Railroad, something reported on towards the end of last year. They're also making clearer and better signage at some attractions to help guests load faster and safer and make sure that they don't drop things onto ride tracks, such as the signage and policy changes they made at the Incredicoaster and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Reportedly, 13% of all downtime at the resort is caused by guest behavior, such as dropping phones, jumping out of rides, standing, etc. This was a really interesting update, and I think this is a great initiative because what I've heard post-COVID really strongly across the board from U.S. guests is rides seem to be down more. And Disneyland, I really enjoyed this business update they invited us to. It was very open and honest, and there was a very honest conversation about the loss of institutional knowledge. And they admitted they lost a lot of people, especially in engineering and ride maintenance, who had been there a long time. And with the loss of those people came the loss of that knowledge. And so it's been a rebuilding process for sure for them. And now, a couple of years removed from the COVID closure, they seem to be climbing back out of that, which is great to hear. Maintenance, you know, if you've watched this show for any amount of time, you know how much I like to rant and rave about theme park maintenance, and I love to hear this. They didn't talk about show maintenance. This is mostly about keeping the ride up and the ride functioning and getting people through. I would hope there's a similar passion for making sure the show elements of a ride work reliably, because it's great. Look, if 1.5 million more rides were had, if 1.5 million more times people were able to get on an attraction than they would have in the previous year, that's great. But do those 1.5 million matter if half the things on the ride don't work? If the animatronics don't move, if the audio doesn't play, if an effect doesn't happen, does that actually matter? Bad show, is bad show better than no show? And I think the answer is no on that one. But it's good to hear that they're focusing on maintenance and uptime. A new tour about the women who make the magic is coming to Disneyland Resort for Women's History Month in March. I guess we'll take a tour of the park and learn about the women behind Disneyland Resort's creation, including Alice Davis, Mary Blair, and Leota Toombs, among others. Guests will also receive a specialty treat, a photo op with a piece of Disney history, access to an attraction with the tour guide. There's also a lightning lane involved, and a viewing spot for Wondrous Journeys. The experience is $110 per person, not including tax. Guests can currently ask about the details of the tour at the Tour Garden at Disneyland Park, but bookings will not open until February 25th, and the tours will start on March 6th. There will be 4 tours per day. Disneyland Resort has filed a permit that reveals the future of the long-abandoned Twilight Zone Tower of Terror FastPass distribution area at DCA. According to the permit, it will be officially converted into an outdoor eating area. It's DCA Avengers Campus Building 749. Change of use is the permit. Convert existing detached FastPass ticket shade structure into outdoor eating area with new joists with electrical. The structure already did have some seating. There were benches and such there, but this is a more permanent change. This makes a ton of sense to me because Pym's Test Kitchen always has a shortage of seating. And honestly, you are adding 2 mega, like what feel like e-ticket rides to Avengers Campus in the next couple of years. So you're going to need more dining capacity. So man, another covered dining area would be a tremendous add-on. So nice to see this happening. This was our theory, that it was either going to be outdoor vending or a dining space, and I'm glad to see it's one of those. The interior refurbishment of Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar at the Disneyland Hotel has been delayed by 2 weeks. We originally reported it would begin on February 17th, but it will now begin on March 2nd. The closure will last through the spring of 2026. It's not going to be that long. Disney previously stated it would reopen in time for the 15th anniversary of Trader Sam's on May 25th. Hopefully that is still true. Meanwhile, outdoor dining and Tangaroa Terrace Tropical Bar and Grill will remain available during this construction. The new nighttime spectacular at the soon-to-be renamed Disney Adventure World in Paris now has reserved viewing space available for purchase. The earliest date to buy this reserved access is April 7th, over a week after the show's official debut on March 29th. The cost is €24 per guest. You can find the option to purchase under the tab in the Disneyland Paris app for guaranteed access to shows. Currently, it's unknown where the reserved area will actually be located, but our own Eric Morton. Eric's going to go cover the opening of Disney Adventure World for us. We've been invited. So Eric's heading out there at the end of the month. It's his first time at Disneyland Paris, which is pretty exciting. So stay tuned for that coverage. Eric's going to be the one to tell you where that viewing area is. It's as if I'm talking to him in the booth right now to let him know, make sure you look where that viewing area is going to be. He'll figure it out. The budget for the new Space Mountain at Tokyo Disneyland has increased, making it the most expensive attraction that Walt Disney Imagineering has ever built. The original budget for the new Space Mountain and Tomorrowland Plaza was 56 billion yen, originally quoted at that number. A few years ago, this was approximately equal to $437 million. With today's exchange rate, it is more likely $360 million, though. But the Oriental Land Company revealed in their third quarter results for the fiscal year ending in March 2026 that the project's budget is now 70.5 billion yen, which is closer to the $460 million. Though the exchange rate and inflation makes the match finicky, it's safe to say by the time Space Mountain opens in 2027, it will be Imagineering's most expensive attraction to date, at least as far as the public knows. Construction of the new ride began while the old Space Mountain was still operating. The old ride closed in July of 2024. Oh, that's when I lived there. In recent months, the new show building has taken shape with the white paneling and spires appearing. The coaster is rumored to be named Space Mountain Earthrise and will feature enhanced performance and immersive special effects unlike any Space Mountain ever built before. I already could not be more excited about this. Tokyo very rarely disappoints. This big of a project, this big of a scope, and this kind of money, it's going to be good. Can't wait. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to all our WIGS members watching who make the show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying enjoy the rest of your today. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.